When the storm is raging and the path ahead is dark, most people look for a way out. But what if the storm isn't against you? What if it's shaping you? When life begins to tighten its grip, the natural reaction is to resist. We're wired to avoid pain, dodge difficulty, and seek comfort at all costs. That's why, when suffering shows up in the form of loss, failure, illness, or emotional turmoil, most people instinctively view it as an intruder. But what if suffering isn't trying to ruin your life? What if it's trying to awaken it? What if the hardship you're facing right now isn't a dead end, but a redirection? Not a punishment, but a preparation. This shift in perception changes everything. Suffering then becomes a signal, not a stop sign. Look closely, and you'll see that every challenge carries with it a kind of message. When the body hurts, it's alerting you that something needs attention. When your relationships crack, they're mirroring parts of you that have been neglected. And when life breaks your routine, it's often because the routine was slowly breaking you. These aren't coincidences. They're conversations. Life has a language beyond words. Suffering is one of its most honest dialects. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't lie. It speaks only truth. You just have to be willing to listen. Not with panic, but with presence. Suffering, in its rawest form, is a teacher. Not the kind that gives easy lessons, but the kind that leaves marks so the wisdom can sink deeper. The ancient wisdom keepers understood this. They saw pain not as something to run from, but something to walk through slowly, deliberately, consciously. They knew that pain, left unexamined, becomes poison, but pain that is observed with awareness becomes power. When you stop treating discomfort like the enemy, it reveals its true nature. A guide, a purifier, a sculptor carving away what you are not, so what remains is real. Consider the moments in your life that shaped you the most. Were they the ones where everything went smoothly, or were they the moments where you were broken open, where the world made no sense, where you cried not just from sadness, but from release? That's where character is born. That's where false identities die. That's where strength, real, grounded, unshakable strength, takes root. Suffering doesn't make you weak. It strips away the illusion that you were ever fragile to begin with. Beneath every broken moment lies an opportunity for something sacred, transformation. Yet most people don't see it this way. They stop at the pain. They think the presence of struggle means something is wrong. But in reality, the pain is the path, the obstacle is the way. When you hit a wall, life isn't saying, turn back. It's asking, are you ready to grow? And growth isn't pretty, it's uncomfortable. It requires stillness in the storm, silence in the noise, a steady breath when everything inside wants to scream or run. But this is how resilience is built, not by skipping the hard moments, but by standing in them with eyes wide open. So the next time life gets heavy, and it will remember this, you are not being punished. You are being called to listen more closely, to live more honestly, to let go of what no longer serves you. The suffering is not the end of your journey. It's the signal that a new chapter is beginning, but only if you have the courage to keep walking, not blindly, but mindfully, not fearfully, but faithfully. Because the one who keeps going even through the fire doesn't just survive life's hardest seasons. They emerge from them transformed, refined, and fully awake. When adversity strikes, our first response is rarely stillness. It's usually panic, the breath quickens, thoughts spiral, the mind begins crafting worst case scenarios before reality even unfolds. That's because the human brain is wired to survive, not to stay present. It looks for threats, calculates dangers, and prepares for the worst. While this may have served us in ancient times, in modern life, this reactive state often becomes a trap. We don't just experience pain, we multiply it through fear and overthinking. But what if the true path through hardship isn't found in panic, but in presence? Presence is the art of remaining rooted in what is not, in what your mind is projecting. When life gets hard, panic pulls you into the future. It asks questions like, what if this gets worse? What if I can't fix it? Or what if I fail? The problem is, those questions live in a time that hasn't arrived. They remove your power. They disconnect you from the only place life can actually be lived, this moment. Presence, on the other hand, whispers, you are here, you are breathing, this too shall pass. Presence anchors you. Panic throws you overboard. Being present doesn't mean pretending things aren't difficult. It doesn't mean numbing yourself or pretending to be calm. It means facing the moment as it is, not as your fear distorts it. Imagine standing in a storm. Panic tells you to run aimlessly. Presence tells you to plant your feet, feel the wind, and listen. Because storms don't last forever. And if you're grounded while others are rushing, you'll be the one who emerges clear, headed, steady, and wise. Panic magnifies suffering. Presence transforms it. So how do you practice presence when the world feels overwhelming? You start small, one breath, one conscious inhale, one slow exhale. Your breath is your bridge between chaos and clarity. Then feel the ground beneath your feet. Notice the tension in your body. Observe your thoughts without judging them. These are not just mindfulness tricks, they are tools. Tools for surviving emotional earthquakes. When your mind screams, I can't take this, your breath says, but you already are. Presence is always available. But you must choose it again and again, moment by moment. Many of the wisest people throughout history didn't find peace in luxury or success. They found it in simplicity, in learning to sit still with suffering, in being fully aware of what's happening inside them without reacting to every emotion. This is not passivity, this is mastery, because the strongest person in the room is not the one who controls others, but the one who controls themselves when everything is falling apart. Panic is loud, presence is quiet, and in that quiet space, something extraordinary happens, clarity appears, solutions come, inner strength awakens. Presence allows you to reclaim your power. It stops the cycle of helplessness. It shows you that even in hard moments, you still have a choice to breathe, to respond, to stay rooted. Life will throw chaos your way, that's a guarantee. But whether you meet it with panic or presence, that is entirely up to you. And each time you choose presence, you build a foundation that no storm can shake. You may not control what life brings, but you can control how fully you show up for it. And that choice, that conscious presence, is what transforms pain into progress. Most people want to grow, but very few want to be uncomfortable. We admire strength in others, but resist the very process that forges it. Why? Because discomfort feels like a threat. It pushes us out of the known, the safe, the predictable. But in truth, discomfort is not your enemy, it is your mirror. It doesn't show you the surface-level version of yourself, the one you post online or share in polite conversations. It reveals your core, your foundation, what you're really made of. You see, no one discovers how deep the ocean runs by standing on the shore. You have to wade into the unknown, feel the waves, let go of the bottom. It's only when the currents grow strong that you begin to see what lies beneath. The same is true for you. When everything in life is comfortable, you remain on the surface. Your strength stays dormant, your wisdom untouched. But when discomfort arrives, whether physical, emotional, or mental, it cracks open the shell. It forces you to go deeper than you've ever gone before. Have you ever noticed how certain painful experiences, while difficult in the moment, later become turning points? That time you were rejected and realized your worth wasn't defined by someone else's opinion. That moment of failure and how it taught you more than any success ever could. These weren't detours, they were thresholds. Discomfort didn't break you. It broke the illusion of who you thought you were. Beneath that, resilience, compassion, grit, qualities that don't bloom in ease, they awaken in challenge. What's remarkable is that discomfort doesn't just show you your strength, it builds it. Think about it. Muscles grow not through light lifting, but through resistance. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and wisdom is rarely born from comfort zones. Discomfort demands you to be present, to let go of false identities, to adapt, to reflect. And every time you face it, instead of fleeing, you expand. Your threshold increases. Your confidence grows. You become less reactive, more intentional, less fearful, more grounded. But you must approach discomfort with awareness. Without it, you risk becoming bitter instead of better. The difference lies in how you interpret the experience. You can see discomfort as punishment and fall into despair, or you can view it as an invitation, a sacred challenge, and rise. When you're stuck in traffic, delayed in life, overlooked at work, betrayed in love, sit with it. Ask, what is this moment trying to show me about myself? Maybe it's revealing your impatience. Maybe it's showing you how attached you are to control. Maybe it's opening your heart to others who are suffering too. That's depth. That's growth. The truth is, there are parts of you, deep, powerful, timeless parts that only come alive when your comfort is stripped away. You discover what truly matters, what you're willing to fight for, who you are beneath the roles and routines. It's in the nights you can't sleep, in the tears you hide, in the weight you carry silently. These moments aren't signs that you're weak, they're evidence that you're transforming, because discomfort is never just about surviving, it's about emerging. And when you do, you don't just return to the surface. You rise from the depths with treasures no one else can see, but you carry in your soul forever. Most of our suffering doesn't come from the event itself, it comes from how tightly we cling to what should happen. We set expectations, we attach ourselves to results, and when life doesn't deliver exactly as imagined, frustration follows. But here's the truth, the more you chase the outcome, the more distant peace becomes. The tighter your grip, the more life slips through your fingers. Real strength, it begins the moment you let go, not of the effort, not of the purpose, but of the outcome. To detach from the outcome doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care deeply, but without needing to control every result. It means you give your best and trust that whatever unfolds has something to teach you. Most people misunderstand detachment. They think it's apathy, cold, emotionless, but detachment is the opposite. It's clarity, it's presence. It's the willingness to show up fully without being owned by the result. You run the race, but you're not enslaved by the finish line. You speak your truth, but you don't force how others receive it. The need to control outcomes is rooted in fear. Fear that you're not enough unless you succeed. Fear that failure defines you. Fear that you're only lovable when life approves of you. But those fears are illusions, and they crumble the moment you realize that your value was never based on the outcome to begin with. You are not your success. You are not your mistakes. You are the effort, the courage, the integrity in the doing. And once you understand this, you become free, truly free. Imagine planting a seed. You water it, give it sunlight, nurture the soil. You do everything within your power to help it grow. But you cannot force it to sprout overnight. You cannot control the rain, the weather, or the winds. Your job is the care, the presence, the daily showing up, the rest that belongs to life. That's detachment. It's not giving up. It's giving in to trust, to patience, to the deeper rhythm that life follows, even when you don't see it yet. And when that seed finally grows, it surprises you, not because it happened, but because it happened when you stopped demanding it. Detachment is where peace lives, when you're no longer chasing approval, obsessed with timelines, or defined by achievements. You begin to experience joy not later, but now. You enjoy the workout, not just the weight loss. The conversation, not just the agreement. The practice, not just the perfection. You learn to appreciate effort for effort's sake, and in doing so, you perform better. you think clearer, you sleep deeper, because your energy is no longer shackled to controlling what was never yours to control in the first place. So, the next time you feel anxious about where life is going, ask yourself, am I clinging too tightly to how things must turn out? And if the answer is yes, take a breath. Ground yourself in the action, not the applause. In the process, not the prize. And remember, detachment doesn't make you passive. It makes you powerful, because you're no longer reacting to life, you're dancing with it. And in that dance, you'll find a freedom that no success or failure could ever offer. When you face an obstacle in life, a breakup, a failure, a closed door, your first thought might be, why is this happening to me? But what if that obstacle isn't just in your way? What if it's showing you the way? What if it's not random, not unfair, not meaningless, but instead a mirror? A reflection of where you are internally? A call to look deeper, to stop blaming, stop resisting, and instead start observing, because more often than not, life doesn't place obstacles in your path to block you. It places them there to reveal you. You see, mirrors don't lie. They don't flatter or manipulate. They show you what is, and life does the same. Every obstacle you encounter, whether it's a difficult person, a job loss, or a physical challenge, is a reflection of something within. Your response to that obstacle reveals your beliefs, your fears, your patience, your patterns. Are you quick to anger, easily discouraged? Do you give up when it gets tough? That's not weakness, that's self-awareness being handed to you in real time. And once you recognize it, you can change it. Let's be honest, most people avoid mirrors. Not just the ones on the wall, but the ones life puts in front of them. They blame the world. They say, this is unfair. They're wrong. It shouldn't be this way. But every time you point outward, you delay your own growth. Growth begins the moment you look inward and ask, what is this teaching me about myself? Not in a harsh or judgmental way, but with gentle curiosity. That's how obstacles become tools. They stop being punishment and start becoming portals. Think about it. A broken relationship may reveal your fear of abandonment. A missed opportunity might highlight your hesitation or lack of preparation. Chronic stress may uncover your need for control. These aren't signs of failure. They are signs that you're finally seeing clearly. The obstacle becomes a gift, not wrapped in shiny paper, but wrapped in truth. And if you're brave enough to unwrap it, you'll find clarity that no comfort zone could ever provide. Because comfort hides, but difficulty reveals. This doesn't mean you invite hardship or glorify pain, but it does mean you stop wasting energy resisting what's already here. Instead, you turn inward. You become honest. You ask, what am I avoiding? What am I still clinging to? What lesson am I being offered right now? The moment you do that, the obstacle shifts. It no longer owns you. It becomes part of your transformation. Not something to escape, but something to examine. Not something to fight, but something to face with awareness. And here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you use the obstacle as a mirror, it stops being a wall. It becomes a window to a stronger, wiser version of you. You realize it was never about the thing in front of you. It was always about what it revealed inside of you. So the next time life throws something difficult your way, take a moment. Don't just react, reflect, don't just push through it, learn from it, because life doesn't challenge you to break you. It challenges you to show you exactly who you are and exactly who you're capable of becoming. We spend so much of our lives chasing perfection, the perfect plan, the perfect partner, the perfect moment. We think once everything is flawless, then we'll be happy, then we'll be enough. But perfection is a moving target. The more you chase it, the more it runs, and the harder you try to control every detail, the more anxious, exhausted, and disconnected you become. That's because peace was never hiding in perfection. Peace lives in purpose, in doing what matters, even if it's messy, uncertain, or uncomfortable. Perfection is about image, it's about control, it's about trying to impress the world while suppressing yourself. But purpose is about meaning, it's about depth, it's about living in alignment with your truth, not someone else's expectations. When you shift from trying to appear perfect to living with purpose, everything changes. You stop needing to prove yourself. You stop obsessing over flawless results. You focus instead on intentional action, knowing that doing something meaningful badly is still more powerful than doing something meaningless perfectly. Let's face it, life isn't a straight line. You'll fail, you'll fall short, you'll disappoint people, but that doesn't mean you're off track. In fact, sometimes that is the track. Your purpose isn't to be flawless. It's to live fully, to serve honestly, to grow authentically, and all of that requires imperfection. Purpose doesn't demand that you get everything right. It asks only that you keep showing up with sincerity. With courage, with love. That's where peace comes from, not from external perfection, but from internal alignment. You've probably had moments where everything on the outside looked great, but on the inside, you felt empty. That's the illusion of perfection. Now think of a time when you were fully immersed in something meaningful, even if it was difficult. Maybe you were helping someone, building something, learning, teaching, healing. You weren't perfect, but you were alive. That's purpose, and in that purpose there was stillness, there was clarity, there was peace, not because life was perfect, but because you were present in what truly matters. When you choose purpose over perfection, you begin to accept yourself more fully. You realize your worth isn't tied to flawless outcomes or constant approval. You understand that mistakes are not proof of failure, they're part of becoming. And with that understanding, you stop fighting with life, you stop fighting with yourself, you allow the process to be what it is: sacred, unpredictable, unfinished. That's where peace begins, not when life is perfect, but when you stop trying to force it to be. So as you walk forward, don't aim to be perfect, aim to be purposeful. Aim to live a life that feels real, not just one that looks good. Let your peace come from doing what's right for your soul, even if it's uncomfortable for your ego. Let it come from the quiet knowing that you're walking your path not flawlessly, but faithfully, because in the end, no one remembers the perfect. They remember the present, the purposeful, the ones who showed up flawed, but fully alive. So, when life is hard, pause, not to escape, but to listen. Listen to what the pain is teaching you. Feel what discomfort is revealing in you. Observe the fear that clings to outcomes. See how every obstacle is silently reflecting your truth. Notice how the chase for perfection steals your presence and how purpose quietly returns it. And in that stillness, you'll remember, you were never meant to avoid hardship. You were meant to grow through it. To breathe through it, to find yourself within it, because the storms don't come to drown you, they come to cleanse. The pressure doesn't crush you, it sculpts you, and life, even in its harshest moments, is not working against you, it's working within you. So don't wait for ease, don't wait for permission, stand up, step forward, meet this moment not with panic, but with presence, not with fear, but with faith. Not seeking perfection, but living with purpose. This is where life truly begins,